Hey everyone and welcome to another video guys, and today we're going to be talking about self-sabotaging behavior. Now your immediate response may be like, what the hell is that? I don't do that. I've never even seen anyone do that. Well, strap yourself in because this is something that's really caught me by surprise as well. And look, I didn't want to make this sort of video. I've kind of felt obligated to make this video because I see a lot of people fall into this trap. And so this isn't really going to be pretty. It's not really going to be fun. But I feel like I have a responsibility here, guys. So today, and the reason I actually decided to make this video is because in a considerable amount of my Mid Lane Academy coaching sessions, I kind of feel myself like I'm a therapist. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm coaching League of Legends anymore, and it feels like with certain clients, no matter how many coaching sessions I do with them, no matter how many VOD reviews, doesn't matter how many details we look into, they just simply will not get results. Maybe it's because I'm not a good coach. That might be the case. But I'm down confident that doesn't matter how good of a coach I am or whoever, the best coach in the world, you get the best coaches in the world will coach this guy, they're simply not going to go anywhere. And I've been reflecting on this. I'm like, how is this possible? Why is this a thing? Why does it feel like we're not getting anywhere no matter after months and months and months? They're still in the same rank. For some people, they can be in the same rank for years. Now, I've got a few reasons as to why this might be the case. The first one is just toxic narratives. The second one is having an extremely unhealthy relationship with solo queue. And the third one is mental blocks. And oftentimes, these are invisible narratives or this unhealthy relationship or these mental blocks, they are formed right at the beginning of their solo queue journey. And we're really going to get into what this looks like in a second. But where this gets really messy is when these players start to compare the results that other people are getting. So, you get the average, 19-year-old solo queue player, their high school friend, they both get a little bit of coaching. One of them goes from gold to platinum, then platinum to diamond within maybe 2 years or something like that. And the other guy is sitting here 3-4 seasons in gold or 3-4 seasons in platinum, and they just don't get anywhere. They're stuck. In their mind, they are completely and utterly stuck. And that's where things get really messy. That's where people get incredibly toxic. That's where they have incredibly unhealthy relationships with the game. And it does not look pretty. And I really want to try and prevent this. So this is a long process. It's not going to be a quick, here's a pill, you take this pill and you're going to go from X rank to X rank. No, this is not how it's going to work. It's going to be a long process. But the important part is that we start it. We must begin this process at some point in time, and the earlier on we attack it, the better it will be. So I thought it'd be very helpful to really share some of these insights with the community and don't keep it locked up for my coaching sessions in the Mid Lane Academy. So today I'm going to be breaking down 3 trends that I've seen within the community at differing ranks. Doesn't matter if you're in Master Tier, doesn't matter if you're in Silver or Bronze. These affect every single rank player to a differing extent, okay? And the goal of today's video is just to raise a little bit of awareness to the importance of self-reflection and having a healthy relationship with the game, even if these specific problems aren't your own. There's going to be plenty more out there that I don't cover within this video that I'm hoping you guys are going to understand the importance of just reflecting and getting into the details. So as we attempt to actually break down these self-sabotaging behaviors, we're actually going to follow this stage or this 5-stage process. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt. I just pulled this out of my ass. I made this up. This is not some like psychology-backed, study that was done in Harvard. No, this is just Coach Curtis in his bedroom doing hundreds of coaching sessions, observing behavior of hundreds of different players across different ranks and servers, creating or this is what I believe to be what is actually occurring when this self-sabotaging behavior forms, okay? So this is just my experiences. Again, this is not backed by any crazy research here. So I contribute to this 5-stage process, and we really need to understand this process, and we're going to go through this exact process with each of these 3 things that we're going to go over in this video. So the first stage here is coming in with an incorrect assumption or theory about the game, oftentimes left unchecked. Okay, it could be a simple thing like you climb in League of Legends because this, or this champion is good because of this. And no one questions it. You don't question it. It's just like deeply embedded at the beginning, usually at the beginning of your league journey. And it's just stayed with you at every single point in time. You may not even be aware that this is at play. The second stage is that you conflate or confuse this initial theory or assumption that you've had with the reason you're actually winning or losing games. Okay, stage number 3, we rinse repeat this over a long period of time, sometimes seasons, years, usually more than months, usually years and seasons. Stage number 4 is we actually, because we've done this so much in our mind, we're like, okay, we lost here because of this makes sense, rinse repeat. It turns into a philosophy or an invisible narrative or a mindset. And the last stage, because of this toxic or this incorrect philosophy, invisible narrative mindset, leads to self-sabotaging behavior. So in order to help you understand this process, if you're a little bit confused, let's actually take a look at a very, very basic example. This is the process if someone were to create a mental block with maybe versing Z. Right, this is extremely simple. Again, we're going to go through a lot more realistic examples, but this is a very basic one. Stage number 1, maybe you learnt the game playing Kassadin or something like that, and you just truly believed, you and your friendship group at school were like, Zed is just busted. That champion is OP. He's overtuned. There's no counterplay, and it's just constantly reiterated. And you genuinely believe this. Like, you genuinely believe this at the time that Zed was overpowered, overtuned, had no counterplay. Then what happened is when you lost to Zed, rather than actually being like, you know what, I actually just don't understand the weaknesses of this champion. I'm just playing suboptimally into it, or my champion just isn't good into it. You just genuinely believe this champion has no counterplay. It's busted. It's the best champion in the game. Then stage 3, you constantly lose to Zed. And every single time you lose to Zed, you're blaming it on being OP. Now, over time, stage 4, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, mental block formed. I can't ever beat Zed. Whenever you queue up, you see the Zed on the enemy team, I just can't beat this champion. You know, he's just OP, he's busted, right? You form this mental block. Then stage 5, when we start to see this self-sabotaging behavior, whenever you see that Zed on the enemy team, before you've even done anything in the game, you're low confidence, you're scared, you're pissed off, you're angry. You actually significantly play worse, lower than your average level of play, just because you're versing this champion. This is a very basic example, and just tying it back here, again, feel free to go back in this video if you really want to understand these stages, but this is the formula we're going to be following throughout this video. So let's go through the first form of self-sabotaging behavior. And the way we're actually going to go through this is we're actually going to reverse engineer what it looks like, okay? So we're actually going to start with stage 5. This is the behavior. This is the self-sabotaging behavior that we're talking about. Then we're going to go back to stage 1 and reverse engineer why this behavior actually happens. So again, I really want you guys to take a second to self-reflect and be like, have I demonstrated this sort of behavior? And I really want you to kind of take a step back and be a little bit harsh on yourself, you know, be a little bit self-critical. Have you done this sort of thing? So the first form of self-sabotaging behavior is having a large focus on the LP over improvement, leading to the following. Games being overly stressful. You're scared to play League of Legends. You have ranked anxiety. You don't really want to queue up. You can't get yourself to press that queue up button. Or for oftentimes, if they have a large focus on the LP over improvement, you're generally just stuck at ranks for an extended period of time, sometimes even seasons. You see people in platinum or gold for sometimes 4 or 5 seasons at a time. Right, so if we were to go back to stage 1, I truly believe the underlying toxic, incorrect theory or assumption is thinking you deserve to be better or to be at a certain rank for whatever reason. Sometimes these ranks are based off performance in previous seasons. Maybe you got platinum in season 3, therefore in season 5, you got to be at least platinum. Or for a lot of people, I've actually seen this very common with challenger players. They got challenger in like season 5 or something like that, and then they pick up the game again in like season 9, and like, well, I was challenger in season 5. Surely I'm at least master tier. No, that's just not the way the game works. And a lot of the time, they're just constantly putting this massive weight on the rank that they did get in a previous season. Or maybe it's their performance in Clash. Look at me, I beat this like platinum or diamond guy in Clash. I deserve to be X rank, or I should be way higher than I am right now. My rank solo queue just is not indicative of my own level of play. Or maybe temporary ranks you achieved earlier on in the season. You know, maybe in preseason you got a bigger rank, or you played this champion, got a bit elo. I don't like using the word, but elo inflated in a way. Maybe you played a really OP champion at the time, or overtuned champion. You got a bit of temporary elo, then you drop back down, and then you thought you deserved to be at that rank. Maybe someone else commented on your gameplay, some high elo player, and said, you know what, man, you actually should be much higher than your rank. I don't know why you're losing. And oftentimes this player isn't a coach, so they don't see all the reasons why you are at your elo, stuff like that. Maybe you played on someone else's account. I've seen that happen all the time, where it's like some gold player plays on like a diamond 4 account just to like reiterate the fact that I don't deserve to be at this rank. I've seen, this is a very, very common one, this fifth one, sorry. You see people who are like high ranked in other games, like I was X rank in HOT, I was X rank in Overwatch or Dota or Counter-Strike, whatever game it is, and they think they deserve to be a certain rank in League of Legends just because they're high rated in another game, when a large part of the skill set does not even translate whatsoever. And people just can't wrap their head around that. And it's just these toxic expectations. And the last one here, maybe due to your age, you think you should be better than you are, or your friends are performing well, therefore you should be that rank as well. There's a whole host of just this toxic deserving behavior, or embedded at the foundation. Now, what this actually leads to, stage 2, and this is again conflating reasons with why you're winning and losing. If the reason you're losing isn't because you're actually at that level of play, then there has to be other factors, right? There has to be other reasons why you're losing these games. And usually this is actually happening at a subconscious level. You can't bring yourself to accept reality that you are at this level of play. You just can't. There has to be all these other reasons. You don't deserve to be at this rank, you know? So this oftentimes ends up looking like blaming teammates, matchmaking, MMR, meta, champ pools, a whole host of crazy external issues that are completely irrelevant. And you know where most of these people live? Here in the good old League of Legends Reddit. Right, we get obsessed with all these little excuses as to why we're in the matchmaking, the MMR, oh my god, these OP champ, OP build, whatever it is. You can't, it's all just a defense mechanism. You can't accept reality that you're not meant to be, or you're not higher than you are, right? Very, very crazy stuff. And then going on to stage 3 here, and rinse repeat for a very long time, continually reiterating this narrative by focusing on things that back up this belief. For example, my friend is climbing, but I am not. Comparing yourself with others constantly. Or look at my losing bot lane. When you get into the review, rather than being like, okay, this is how I contributed to this loss, what you're going to be looking for is, look at how my bot lane lost me the game. Constantly looking at all the other areas in the review that take away from your responsibility, or you taking responsibility for the outcome of this game. It's impossible. It's impossible to get this person to actually take responsibility because they fundamentally think they deserve to be at a higher rank than they are. And oftentimes, these people are obsessed over OPGGs, team compositions, win rates, stats, patch notes, all this nonsense that just is a distraction from the fundamentals. And it doesn't matter with these clients, no matter how clear I make it that their behavior in this game is subpar and that they quote unquote deserve to lose this game, they can't accept it. At the most fundamental level, they cannot embrace the words that I'm putting into their mind. It's just like a shield, it's a barrier that's just deflecting all of my ammunition. I just can't do anything about it. Right? Stage number 4 here, solidifying that mindset, narrative, and philosophy on solo queue, eventually resulting in a toxic mentality of the world is out to get me, victim mentality, okay? Resulting in not believing in their ability to improve and actually not wanting to get into the review. You can't get this person to review. Even if I say, okay, if you're not reviewing, you're not going to climb. They just still won't do it. Or they'll do it very surface level, but again, looking at the reasons why other people lost in the game. Hyper exaggeration of mistakes due to fear of teammates instantly losing them the game. If someone else in the team makes a mistake, instantly they're like, okay, the game is lost. I can't win anymore. They lost me the game. They'll hyper exaggerate these mistakes. Or sometimes they'll constantly point out others' mistakes in reviews, like I said before, and rarely playing ranked, further fueling the ranked anxiety. Really messy stuff. It's really, really messy stuff, and it's so sad to see because oftentimes these people love the game, but this underlying toxic assumption that they deserve to be better is just eating them alive. So I want to talk about solutions here, potential solutions. So ideally what we want to do is shift that focus away from the LP onto improvement, the goal to have a much healthier relationship with the game. One of the potential solutions here is take time to reflect and accept that you are only as good as your last game played. Doesn't matter how good you played 3 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, 7 months ago. Doesn't mean shit. You're only as good as the last game you played, okay? And just really embracing that. Not just listening to those words and then going in one ear, going out the other. Actually taking a second to embrace that. Next one here. Use the review as your medicine. I cannot stress this one enough. Getting into the details in the review is like, it's like a handful of like pills. I just want to shove it down your throat, honestly. It's just, please look at your review, get into the details, specifically what is happening and why is it happening. I want you to do this, hyper focus on your mistakes and missed opportunities. Don't look at just the mistakes, look at the missed opportunities. If you go for a roam play bot and it fails, don't just be like, oh, okay, that's what happened. Look at, okay, what could have you have done otherwise? You gave tempo over the opponent and allowed the opponent to get a plate. You got nothing from your roam. What could you have done otherwise? Look at the missed opportunities. Or here, you didn't tempo reset. If you did tempo reset, what would have happened? Look at the missed opportunities. It's very freeing. It's very like, it's like a breath of fresh air when you look at it and you're like, ah, oh, you know what, Curtis? That actually makes a lot of sense why I lost that game. I got my base stopped here, and then because my base wasn't synced with my jungler, they got full control over river, and then picked my jungler, and then we lost river control, they got dragon, and now I can't push the pace of the game anymore as Fizz. End of review. Super simple. The process is your best friend. If you don't have a process for playing solo queue blocks, getting into the review, taking a few notes, whether they're mental or either on paper or on the Google Doc, whatever it is, you're just not going to go anywhere. Please use the process, okay? And force yourself to play in blocks of 3. Now, I did this thing in my Midland Academy called the Midland Academy 2-week challenge. And across 2 weeks, you had to follow these rules. And one of the rules was you could only play in blocks of 3. If you have ranked anxiety, I had a few people that did this challenge, and this literally broke their ranked anxiety because they were forced to play the game, and they just got over that weird invisible narrative they had. They just forced it. Just through sheer will, they got over their ranked anxiety just by playing the game because they realized how scary it wasn't. Like, it wasn't that scary at all. So I highly, highly recommend that you play in blocks of 3. This could be a big breakthrough for you. Give it a go. If you don't believe it, just give it a go. Just do it. If it still doesn't work, then get back to me, and then maybe we can come up with a more custom solution for you. And the last one here is stop using win rates and KDAs as metrics. Okay, there's a lot more, much healthier metrics rather than just win rates and KDAs. Look at the review and look at specifics that you're improving on. Are you looking at your lull state usage? So every single lull state for the first 8 minutes of the game, what were they like? Did you ask good quality questions? Were you aware of the specific things that you were looking for? Or maybe the thing you're focusing on is camera panning. How was your camera panning in the first 10 minutes of the game? Get specific. Look at specifics of the game that you're trying to improve upon. Because we know, even if you play very good League of Legends, you can still lose a game. So again, create your own metrics that are tied to things that you are actually trying to improve on. Very, very important. Now for self-sabotaging behavior number 2. Now starting again with the behavior, tying back to stage number 5, again, I want you to guys take a second to reflect, really try and internalize this one, think back to previous experiences. Have you displayed this sort of behavior? Or do you do it on a constant basis? Okay, and this one is constantly having no confidence in themselves to play the game well and perform or climb, generally resulting in ranked anxiety, not wanting to queue up again, and blindly following other people's calls. Now, before I go into stage 1 here, I truly believe this one plagues, I would say, 20 to 30%, maybe even more, of the League community. And this is such a big problem that I feel like, again, it completely ruins one's League experience and will make it incredibly miserable. And it's a shame. It's a goddamn shame, this one. So stage number 1 here, guys, thinking that climbing in League is mainly talent driven and actually reaching challenge requires insane amounts of talent where you just need to be special, right? You just need to be built different. You just need to be this talented gamer that is just good at games, and that's how they got to challenge. That's what makes them so good, okay? Very, very common incorrect theory or assumption. Okay, so stage number 2 here, this leads to the player consciously or subconsciously conflating the reason they are losing with, I just don't have what it takes. You know, I'm just not good enough. Me as an individual, I just don't have it. That guy has it, you know, that guy over there, that guy has it. I just don't have it, right? I'm just not good enough. Or, you know, I'm just not good enough to climb in League at an identity level. And generally what you'll see when you hear these sorts of people that have this self-sabot or show or display this form of self-sabotaging behavior or have that underlying belief, They talk in a way that puts themselves down. Like, I am trash. I just suck. I can't play this game. It's just like this very identity level stuff. Not my behavior was bad in this game. It's just I am bad. Coach Curtis Morgan is just bad at League of Legends. When you say that sort of thing, what are you going to do about it? You know, like, you can't change you. You are you, right? But if you separate your behavior in game from you, it obviously, first of all, it feels a lot better to actually separate it. It doesn't feel as bad. It doesn't feel like you're just putting yourself as a human down. But also, it provides room to actually grow. So a better way of saying it was, my CSing this game was poor. My skill shot accuracy this game sucked. So you're actually saying specifically what was going wrong. That way you can actually improve on it. I can't change me. Okay, very, very important distinction to make. You know, I just don't have good reaction times. I'm just a boomer. Either my genetics or my age, whatever reason, I'm too old. I'm past my prime. I can't do it. Again, I had this mentality. A lot of older players have this mentality and this belief, conflating the reasons they lose because of this. It's just a joke. It's an absolute joke. Now, tying to stage 3 here, rinse, repeat for a very long time. Again, continuing to blame externals, factors out of their control, leading to idolizing players that are better than you, putting them on a pedestal. That guy beat me, or that guy's really high ranked. He's just my Lord and Savior. That guy's so good. He's like an alien. He's so special. You know, you put them on this pedestal, this special pedestal. You know, yes, you can definitely idolize players, but in a healthy way, not just not by putting yourself down at the exact same time. And finding comfort in fixed mindset statements that consolidate your underlying theory. You know, just the classic Tyler 1 saying, you know, just built different. In a way, I think he is built different physically, right? I think he's an absolute beast and genetically. But in terms of gaming, I don't think that's the case whatsoever. But it's interesting because I know this might be overanalyzing, but I do think a lot of people, and this sort of message is built different, although it's funny and I love Tyler 1, that message of just being like, I'm just different, you know, I just am good, and you just can't be like me because I am me. I just don't like that message that you're spreading. It's like, no, dude, you've been playing the game for an incredibly long period of time, and I think I would say the large majority of players can easily be way better than you. You know, I'm not putting Taiwan down. This is not him specifically. This is just in general, that statement. Same things as like, I am hard stuck. I am bad at X. These fixed mindset statements, very toxic and damaging. Now, again, leading to the end mindset narrative philosophy, eventually solidifying into this toxic fixed mindset whereby the process of improvement just doesn't work for me. You know, it just doesn't work at all. I don't believe in that process. One person just simply cannot get better at League. And this may sound actually ridiculous, but I believe a whole lot of people truly believe this. Whether they're consciously or subconsciously, they believe you just can't get better at League. Like, these challenger players, they're just good. They're just amazing. They're just talented. They didn't just improve to get to that level of play. I can't get to that level of play. You know, that very toxic fixed mindset. They truly believe they can't. Even if they try, they truly believe they cannot. And this actually has a lot of effects on their intensity, right? They actually won't try in games to have that excuse, that defense mechanism, right? And this is very common. Again, they go into a game, a bit of adversity will strike, whether someone dies in a side lane, whatever it is, or maybe they make one little mistake. They don't want to have that. They don't want to go into the post-game review saying, you know what, I absolutely tried my best. I gave it my heart and I still lost, because it hurts. That's where it really, really hurts. But that's where most of the growing and most of the improvement happens. And as a result, they don't try, so they can have that excuse. You know what? I just wasn't trying that hard. I wasn't playing at max intensity. Look at me. I was playing with my alt tabbing. They just create all these excuses for themselves as to why they shouldn't give 100%, which damages you, makes you play even worse, and just prevents you from actually improving. And they actually never put effort into the reviews, because they say, what's the point? What's the point of putting effort into the reviews if I just, you know, either I didn't try. They might have that excuse. What's the point of getting to the review if I didn't try? It's not replicable. That's not my best. Or, you know, what's the point? Again, I can't get better anyway. So what's the point? And if you don't get into the review, it further reiterates the fact that they're not going to improve. So it's like a constant cycle. I don't want to review because what's the point of improving anyway, or trying to improve anyway, because I can't. I don't have that talent. And because I'm not reviewing and not trying in my reviews, then I'm not going to get better anyway. So it's like the cycle feeds itself over time, leading to less and less confidence, resenting people that actually try to get better at the game. And I believe this is a big reason why we see a lot of toxicity in League of Legends from a lot of these insecure people that genuinely have this fixed mindset where they don't believe they can get better at the game. They see other people trying and it angers them. It actually frustrates them at an identity level. Being like, why is this guy trying so hard? Like, why is he trying? Because if this guy actually tries and gets better and climbs and this guy doesn't, then what does that say about you, yourself? Like, well, holy shit, doesn't that just like completely destroy my own narrative? And so people get frustrated when they see people be positive or trying or getting better at the game. And actually, you see some incredibly toxic behavior there as well. So in terms of the solutions for this one here, and actually in order to actually realize that climbing has very little to do with talent, and the goal here, trying to get our confidence back to believe in our ability to improve and climb. One of the first things we can do is actually just fix our self-talk. And reflect on who you're surrounding yourself with. I think a lot of people surround themselves with these toxic Discord communities where people are just circle jerking in terms of this guy sucks, L9, following streamers blindly, just incredibly toxic behavior. And the way they talk about themselves, again, I am trash, I suck at League, I'm hard stuck, all this bullshit. Fix your self-talk, man. Separate you at an identity level away from your behavior, and then also separate yourself from people that are putting you down, judging you for your OPGs, your win rates, and all that nonsense. Create a structure and process. Your process is going to be your best friend. Okay, the reviews, getting into the details, playing in blocks of 3 with a small champion pool, the same thing here. Again, like I said, get into the details, improve your micro through drills and intention. A lot of the people, they say, oh, I got boom mechanics, but they don't actually try to get better at micro. I urge those people that say I can't get better at micro or whatever it is, or they can't get better at a specific skill, get into the drills. I talk about this in my how to improve micro video. I have a shit ton of videos on my YouTube channel that tell you how to get better at specific skills, whether it's the death ray or Victor doing the death ray drill. There's all these drills out there. There's things that you can do. I urge you to actually do that again and again and again. And if you see no results, so be it. But I can basically guarantee you that if you follow that process, you're not going to be the same micro-wise. And if you believe that, then you're just delusional. Invest in coaching. Obviously, it sounds rich coming from me because I do coach. But at the end of the day, getting coaching and getting exposed in terms of what you're doing wrong and bringing attention to the areas that you could be getting better at is very important. Now for self-sabotaging behavior number 3. Okay, so here is the starting behavior. Giving up and tilting after one mistake in the game, either from yourself or a teammate, leading to spam FF votes, high amounts of anger and frustration, and losing winnable games. Okay, we all know people who do this. Okay, if you know someone who does this, please give them the timestamp for this video here. I believe that the initial incorrect theory or assumption that they had, might even from the beginning of their league experience, was thinking that if you get behind in the game, you can't do anything. Right? And you will and you should lose that game and go next. A surprising amount of people genuinely believe this. They genuinely believe that if you get behind, you will and you should lose the game and go next. Okay, so stage number 2 here. Conflating the reason why with the wins and losses, leading to overemphasizing the times they have won with an early lead, and looking past the times where they've actually won from behind. They simply just pick and choose which bits they want to emphasize and which bits they want to choose to ignore. Very toxic behavior. And oftentimes, when they actually then look at the games they lost, and they look past all of the missed opportunities and all the mistakes they made, blaming it on the teammate who got solo killed early game. They literally will do this. They will look past everything that they did wrong, or look past all of the things that they could have done, just to reiterate in their mind that they should have lost this game. And I try to review with some of these players. I try really hard. I'm like, look, you could have done this. You could have done this here. Why didn't you just trade this objective off? Go topside. But they're like, oh yeah. But like, look here. But look at this guy. But what do I do if I make this call? They're not going to listen to me anyway. Constantly, again and again and again, overemphasizing the things that other people do and failing to look at the things that they could have done. Because they have to. Going back to here, they have to reiterate and back up and make themselves feel good and prove this initial theory or assumption again and again and again. And it's important to note, guys, that a lot of this is done emotionally. We don't even realize we're actually doing it until we've actually calmed down. But because we don't ever reflect and we just spam games, it's really hard to notice that this is happening. Because think about it. When you have this emotional response after the game, right? When, you look at the review and you're like, this guy died, and then you're trying to look at what you could have done, but you simply cannot get yourself to look at the things that you've done. You keep looking at, you're like angry and frustrated. Well, oftentimes we just move on. Like, all right, that is what it is. I'm just going to press play again. Whether we're addicted or we want that dopamine hit or we don't want to take a break or we don't have enough time or whatever it is, even though the time thing's bullshit, we don't just reflect. We don't walk away from the PC for 5-10 minutes, come back after a breather, a bit of water, and be like, all right, Curtis, despite what happened, yes, those things happen. Let's accept them. All good. Let's just see what I could have done. What really could I have done? And this really calm, when you're a lot more controlled and calmed down. We just don't get to that stage. We never get there. Either because we don't want to or we don't give ourselves a chance to. It's all done emotionally. Now, stage number 3, this is the most fascinating bit. If we continue to not develop the skill of losing gracefully and continue to quick FF, we will actually slowly develop a conditioned response to seeing someone die in the game. Similar to, if any of you did psychology at school or whatever, similar to Pavlov and his experiment with dogs, without the biologically potent stimulus, when we see someone die, or when we see someone else get behind, or we see a jungler make a mistake or something like that, we're going to have a conditioned response to just FF or lower our intensity or give up or actually try to lose in some extreme cases. So it goes like this. See someone die, connect this with a lost game, therefore we should give up, stop trying, or FF. We are, again, often completely unaware that this conditioned response is occurring because we're just in the shit. We're in this high intensity emotional state where we can't even see this is happening. So again, it doesn't matter how many times, often when I'm working with these clients, it doesn't matter how, when I get into the review, when they're all this rational self, I can't prevent them from doing this sort of self-sabotaging behavior because I'm not there with them when they're playing the games. It's like classical conditioning. And look, my psychology might be a bit off here, but this is just literally what I'm seeing. A conditioned response that is completely out of my control. And this terrifies me because it makes me feel like, it makes me realize, holy shit, we just have very little control over ourselves sometimes. We're just like an animal. It's like, this happens, this is our response, I'm just going to lose. Eventually solidifying our mindset, eventually leading to a mindset where one is allergic to playing from behind. And the idea of losing gracefully or even getting carried is simply unacceptable. This can't happen. And oftentimes this goes hand in hand with one's insecurity about their own level of play. But in the process of palming off tilt, to your teammates, you feel and sound cool and powerful. So your behavior is actually reinforced. Again, a way to protect the ego and gain fake confidence. Because remember, this is what I see with Twitch culture all the time. This is why I don't stream on Twitch. This is why I don't really collab with many people. And I'm kind of my own coach or I don't collab with anyone. Is because you just see people on Twitch. It's cool. It's cool to be angry at other people. It's cool to blame. You feel superior. I'm better than this person. And you generally see this with very insecure people. To make themselves feel better, they put other people down rather than bringing them up. But what's fascinating, when you see the really supremely confident people, they don't need to get their confidence from putting other people down. Oftentimes, if you see Faker playing with a player, for example, they're not going to put someone else down. They're already confident in themselves and their own ability. They don't need to put someone else down to make themselves feel better about themselves, which is the most sad thing. Again, even with celebrities or very great looking models or whatever, they'll compliment other people because they're comfortable with who they are. And we can all get to that level. We can all get to that level. You don't need to be something special or be able to achieve some amazing things. We just have to believe in the process. So this is something that I see at large, at scale. You see this basically every single game. And it all ties back to that mindset that is absolutely solidified. It is absolutely unacceptable to get carried. because I should lose once I get behind. Sounds terrifying, but it even gets worse. He continued. These are the extra scary things as a result of this mindset. You cannot process information in the review that is coherent with you having to take responsibility for the loss in any way. This is the large reason I believe a lot of people get hard stuck. They simply will not, when they get into the review, they cannot process information where if I told them, okay, here you could have taken responsibility, called off this dragon, gone topside or trade sides of the map, accept that your bot lane is losing, try and create a secondary win condition through your topside. Yes, they'll agree with it in the moment, but they can't get themselves to replicate this behavior because it's not coherent with that initial narrative. That initial narrative being, I shouldn't win if the team gets behind. Venting to others, getting sympathy, reinforces this belief, making you feel better for losing this game. This one infuriates me. I see, even in my own Discord sometimes, people try to vent, and I'm pretty strict on it now. I call people out ASAP. If I see you vent and get sympathy from someone else, they say things like this. Guys, look at it. They'll send like the scoreboard of the game and be like, look at my losing bot lane here. Or look at how unwinnable this game is. And they just want to get sympathy. It just reinforces this belief that, it's okay. You should lose. You don't need to take responsibility. It's okay. They're there. But in the process of getting sympathy for, judging other people and failing to take responsibility, you're just reiterating the same toxic thing. Then I always say, okay, did you create a secondary win condition? Did you help complement your winning side? Did you call for trade of objectives? Did you call for something on with the member that was getting it? Were you giving too much pressure, which actually impacted the rest of the map? Were you playing too selfishly? What did you do to contribute to this? In some extreme cases, people actually die on purpose or not try on purpose to make the game harder to prove the point that they shouldn't win. I've literally seen this as well. I'm sure some of you have seen this as well. They will try to lose the game. They will run in, they will die, they will play worse because they want to reiterate this narrative that they should lose if they get behind in the early game. Now, solutions for this one, all right? And ideally, to realize that we can win after getting behind, and the goal to stay strong mentally after adversity and play our best League of Legends at all times. I highly recommend watching the Broken by Concept episode 47. We talk about understanding the chaotic nature of the game. That will really help you. Hold yourself to a high standard, something that makes you proud. What sort of League of Legends player do you want to be? When you reflect back and, you tell other people about your League experience or whatever, what sort of League player do you want to be? What's something that makes you feel proud of yourself? Look specifically to see how you contribute to the loss. Go out of your way. Take hyper responsibility of the game. Go out of your way to see the little things that you could have done. Overemphasize the things that you could have done. Go above and beyond. Look for missed opportunities, not just mistakes. A lot of people just only look at the mistakes. I said this earlier on, look for missed opportunities. Learn to lose gracefully in trade objectives. It's not your responsibility to just carry every game and get ahead. That's just not the way the game works. In draft, you're going to get counterpicked inevitably, which means someone else on your team gets the counterpick. There's another human behind that PC, right, who also wants to win that game. Allow them to do that. Don't make their life harder than it needs to be. And one of my favorite philosophies with the game is actually try and make the game as easy as possible for your own team through good quality vision, not engaging and doing two plays at once. When your jungler's making a play topside, don't try to engage mid and heavy trade because then you're just giving an opportunity to the enemy jungler. Or don't look for a heavy trade when your jungler's in base because again, you're just creating an opportunity for the enemy jungler. Or don't try and go for a solo kill when your jungler's on the Rift Herald because it's just going to create chaos, that sort of thing. Make the game as easy as possible for your teammates. Now, here's just some extra interesting information upon reflection doing this video I've come to terms with. The first one was I've actually noticed that people who shift their champ pools a lot are actually, and this is for many people, a defense mechanism. This is actually a form of defense. And they use the whole fun element when I ask them, why do you play so many champions? Why do you switch champ pools all the time? Generally, the response I get is, I just get bored, right? I just get bored of these champions. It's more fun playing new champions. But I believe this is still a cover-up for one's insecurity of one's level of play, their lack of process, or their fear of failure. Again, they're scared of trying and then failing. Because this generally is tied with a fixed mindset. because they're scared if they try and fail, then what does that mean? If you don't genuinely believe you can get better at the game, right? If you don't believe you can actually get better, what does it mean when you fail? That just means that's it. That's end game. That's it. There's no, what's the point of playing? That is what is at play mentally. And for a lot of people, this is actually stemmed from real life. And same thing for me. I talk about this on the Broken by Concept podcast. I had a very fixed mindset. I genuinely believed I couldn't get better at something that I was not good at. Right? I was not physically gifted, athletic. I didn't think I could. I was the type of person to go to the gym. So I was insecure of my body in many ways, or my lack of athleticism. So I didn't believe that I should go to the gym because that just wasn't me. So I would make a lot of excuses as to why I shouldn't go. And at the end of the day, I just didn't believe I could get better at something I wasn't good at. Just and for many areas of my life. So I think a lot of people in many ways shift their champ pool for these reasons, just pure insecurity. And they cannot come to terms with this. Another interesting one is confidence, their confidence disappearing after plateauing or reaching a certain rank. Had this one today on the my Discord. This is the actual quote from my Discord here. I think after VOD reviewing my games, I finally found the reason why my games have been so doomed recently. I checked my games in gold versus the games in plat, and my confidence literally evaporated as soon as I hit a higher rank. How do you go about getting more confidence in your gameplay? So I contribute this to two main potential issues. The first one is failing to understand the dynamics of the mental stack. I talk about this with my hard stack video. As you get better at the game, you're versing better opponents. So you can't just keep doing the same thing. You can't do the same thing you did in Gold 2 to get the same results in Platinum 4. It just doesn't work. People are better at the game, right? So you need to learn new skills. Well, what happens when you inevitably learn new skills? Well, you're going to have to put that into your mental stack, which is going to take up more of your energy, which means you're going to get worse at other areas that you are actually better at, which means you're probably going to get worse. You're going to play worse and maybe drop a few ranks. So people are scared of getting out of their comfort zone. And then when they start losing, they end up losing confidence, or they're actually contributing the losses to them just being, again, bad at the game, not following the process. And again, the second one here is, again, like I said, getting sloppy with the process, expecting short-term results. The key word here, expectation. Expecting that because they got from X rank to X rank, the process is going to be equally as smooth from Y rank to Z rank. You know, they just think that the process is going to be boom, 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 a constant climb. No, the climb is going to look something like this. We're going to go up, and then we're going to go back down a bit, then we're going to go up again, we're going to go back down. But then what they do is they overemphasize these losses here and here, or they plateau temporarily without actually getting out of their comfort zone, trying to learn something different. And then because they're not really going anywhere, they lose confidence thinking that they're just stuck. They're here forever. So I think that if you are feeling low confidence, what I would recommend again is just remember, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason you are not winning these games. And remember that this is not the end of the journey. Once you get to Platinum 4 or Diamond 4 or Master, there's always like another level. Embrace it. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Relax a little bit. So this is something I'm still trying to explain because I feel like it is the loss of confidence is a failure to really internalize the process or have overly high expectations. This is something I'm still trying to work on, so bear with me with this one. But I just did find these two potential issues quite interesting. So my final words here, guys. Don't deny the feelings you have. Embrace and accept them for what they are. This is the first step to change. Like, I don't expect you guys to be a robot. We're all going to have emotions. Like even for me recently, I'm going to talk about a story in a second, one of my own league experiences. Just don't try to pretend that we're going to be this perfect faker robot where we lose, we get into the review, we move on, we're just like, we're meant to have no feelings. No, this is just not the case whatsoever. We are going to inevitably have ups, downs, we're going to feel upset, angry. Embrace it, reflect on it, accept it for what it is, and then we take the steps to change. It's normal to feel tilted or upset. I just want you guys to be a little bit more cognizant of what actually might be at play. It might not just be a simple gameplay issue. For a lot of people, it is. But for a lot of other people, it's more than that, especially if they played the game for quite a few seasons, okay? So I want you to pause for a second. I want you to reflect, and I want you to actually listen to your feelings for a second. Like, how are you feeling while playing the game? If you're feeling nervous and ranked anxiety before you even play the game, then there's a goddamn problem. Stop pretending there's not a problem. There's a goddamn problem, man. You need to address that ASAP. There's not nothing to do with your level of play right now. Now, if you want a little bit more insight into this, recently recorded episode 50 of the Broken Pie Concept. Again, very, very fascinating stuff about reflection. Now, even recently, I had my own Silas mental block. And going through that process, I believe the initial hypothesis, like the stage one, was actually, I believe the champion was just busted. I thought that the champion was overtuned, which in turn, I was contributing that to the reason I was losing to Silas, when in reality, I was just playing incredibly poor. Now, what I did is I took a second to reflect. I remember sitting at my PC, I was sitting here like this. I was saying, Curtis, what are you doing? Why are you dying like level 3 to a Silas? Having to blow flash level 2 to a Silas every game. And I found myself getting frustrated, angry. I'm like, and I just realized I was delusional. Just reflecting, because what do you get your shit together, man? But if I didn't take that step back and take responsibility rather than blaming Riot or whatever it is, I never would have addressed it. I wouldn't have taken the steps forward to really address that issue. And it's interesting because this is like a normal relationship, guys. When you're in a relationship, whether it's a friend, a relationship with your family member, a relationship with a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, it's important that you address all the little things. And for those of you out there who kind of live with your boyfriend or girlfriend, a perfect example is like if you live with someone and they do little things that annoy you and you don't say anything, the anger or whatever builds up over time. It's like, oh, they left that dish out, or they didn't clean overnight, they didn't clean the dishes last night, or they left the bed undone, or whatever like little thing that really annoys you. Or from the girl's perspective, the guy shaved in the basin and didn't like wash the hair away, whatever it was. If you let that kind of fester over time, it's not really gonna end well. Right? Over time, it's going to lead to an explosion, like pent up anger, and it's going to be an absolute disaster. Don't let it get to that point. You got to address it. Say, look, pull them aside. Look, I really just don't like that. I don't really, I don't like it when that happens. Is there a way that I can remind you? How can we figure this out for next time? And if you address it earlier on, the end result's not going to be as bad. You're going to have a much healthier overall relationship, just like having a good relationship with solo queue. You must address these little problems before they get really large. And like I said, this is the key to building good relationships in anything, guys. So have a little reflect on this, guys. It's important that we reflect what leads to good quality relationships. So, hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit of a weird one. And look, I really didn't want to make this video. And because sometimes I feel like I fuel the flame in a way. And I fan the flame and it gets a bit worse. But I've just come to the realization that I want people to get results. And there's a large amount of people out there that simply cannot get results for whatever reason. And they need to reflect. These might not be your problems. Some of them might ring true for you, but you might need to do your own form of self-reflection, guys. So hopefully this helps put you on a path. And I'd love to hear some of your own stories, guys. And I'll see you for the next video. Cheers.